This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Bev's Video Kingdom is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Bev's Video Kingdom really is brought to you by...
What the fuck?
What's up, dude?
One of my renters broke the toilet again. That dude takes giant shits. Now I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Why don't you hire a property management company or something to take care of that stuff?
Because they suck, and they take 10%.
You know, our dude Hank owns and manages Heritage Realty Partners. I think he said he only charges 5%, and he visits each property at least once a month.
That's right, he's always posting beers from the road. You have his number?
Actually, I do. His personal number is 805-451-5734.
Perfect. Now he can deal with my renter's big shits.
Heritage Realty Partners.
For all your property management and investment needs.
This episode of Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by Fetch Yo Ass Bus Drivers. Hey, you know, in that fast-paced 21st century your kids are living in, they got places to be and people to see. So your school district definitely should hire Fetch Yo Ass Bus Drivers. Our drivers are specially trained to get your kids' asses to and from school with no consideration to speed limits or 25-mile-an-hour school zones. Those signs ain't for us. We'll make sure that your kid's bus is hauling ass so they'll never miss an important event or drinks with you, the cool mom. If some rando gets thumped, well, fuck them. They should have looked both ways. We got future leaders on this bus who gotta be home in time for TRL and lacrosse practice. So hitch a ride with Fetch Yo Ass Bus Drivers.
TRL reference. I fucking love it, dude.
Nice.
That was time appropriate.
Start this thing.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. I know how to use the fader and everything. It's weird around here. Welcome, everybody.
The little boy's all grossed up.
I know.
He's all grossed up.
Grin on his face.
Welcome to Bev's Video Kingdom. And you can't see this, but we got some new stuff happening right now. Yeah. I am working the controls on the board. Yep. Which is the first time anybody other than Brad has worked the controls.
Well, it's because, you know, my hands got chopped off in a freak accident this last week. So since I don't have hands, it's all Scotch.
I had to jump in, you know, and so I'm running the board now. And there's another reason, and we'll tell you about that later. A little surprise, but and also it's probably
surprises.
It's probably good to have somebody else that actually knows how to do this in case you actually can't make a show, which you're the only member that's actually made every single show now, right?
This is truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Now this is going to be like a reason for me to take a 7-episode vacation or some shit.
I know. I can handle this shit.
Journeyman Brad.
Well, we'll see. We haven't got through the episode yet. I don't know. I might screw this up. So yeah. So I'm joined by my co-host Brad, obviously, and
I got no hands.
You got no hands, and Zach, how you doing, bud?
I am here.
Well, and we appreciate you.
I have made it. I have arrived.
Yeah.
Have you been journeying around the world or something? Like, have you been all over the place?
Oh, I'll tell you a story off the air about my day today.
Oh, lovely.
Cannot share it on the air.
That's great. That's great pod right there. Mention the story and then don't mention anything about it to anyone.
He may be wanted right now in like 6 states.
There's somebody that's wanted in the story, but it's not me.
Oh, geez.
So we're also joined by a couple of lovely ladies, and well, I mean, there's a reason we brought them here, because we're talking about.
Ouch.
They're not really. That's not why we brought them here. We brought them here because they're amazing, and they've been on the show before, and you've heard their voices. We have Carrie.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I'm sure some people are listening to the afternoon.
Good night.
That was perfect.
Yeah, it could be good morning for some folks. It could be good evening for some folks.
And we have Melissa.
I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Yeah. See, she was nice enough to jump in with us.
You're welcome.
We are discussing the movie Mean Girls.
And so Scott, he buried the lead that we were thinking about the meanest girls we know. I was like, well, my wife, of course.
So I literally, Brad was like, who should we have on for the Mean Girls episode? And I decided not to send the text because I was like, I don't know how this will be taken, but I was like, Melissa's fucking mean. We have Melissa on. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
Only to Brad, not to anybody else.
That's actually really true.
Yeah. Appropriate.
What was the sign you put on my back at a party one time, Zach? It said ice cold or something along those lines.
Oh, that sounds about right. I don't remember. I may have been drinking.
You took it off of the ice bin and put it on my back. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Melissa.
A lot of bullying in our friendships.
Reputations are earned.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I want to change all my answers now.
These boys are bitter after I judged their draft.
That's actually very true. I don't want to talk about that right now. And so we're talking about Mean Girls, which, I was looking at some of our demographics, and it makes a lot of sense because we have 70% male audience.
Yeah.
And so this is a perfect movie for that.
And 30% mean women, though.
Right.
So.
But it's an interesting movie. I'm hosting. I don't remember actually picking this. I don't know really who did.
So my wife asked that question. She's like, this must be a Nate pick. And I was like, no, we did a Nate movie last week. It can't be Nate's, and he's not even going to be there. So
I know we all got together and we were talking about movies, and this came out, but I don't remember who brought it up.
I think you were drunk and you're just like, fuck it. I got it.
I mean, I do enjoy the movie. I really do. And I was happy to host it, but I was going, who the hell picked this? And so I guess I'm going to host it. But I really do enjoy it. And, hopefully guys aren't looking at this and going, "Oh shit, I don't like that movie." But
I'm out.
I don't give a fuck about anything.
This is a great podcast. If you're a dude listening, this is when you can tell your lady, "Hey, this podcast did Mean Girls. You like Mean Girls. You should listen to their podcast." Let's get that female audience number up a little bit.
Bring them in.
So what year did this come out?
2004.
Okay, 2004. That makes sense. I watched it today to refresh, and I really like this movie. I didn't love it as much on the rewatch, but goddamn, Lindsay Lohan is an amazing, amazing actress.
Absolutely.
I think she got done dirty. Like she got done dirty by Hollywood substance abuse,
drugs, and
I don't know, dude.
issues.
So I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I read this thing where while she was doing the press tour for this movie, the fucking topic that got brought up to her every single time during the interview was how does it feel to be a plus size woman starring in this movie? And I'm watching this movie and I'm like, what the fuck was going on in 2004? My wife was like, yeah, that's par for the course for 90s, early 2000s. You had to be rail thin. And I mean,
it's because she had a little bit of a boob jiggle.
She's super thin. Dude. She's very thin.
Yeah.
Extremely beautiful. I just do not get it. The fact that people were literally with a straight face asking her that question in interviews just kind of makes me feel gross.
Wasn't she still a teenager too when this was filmed?
She was 18 years old.
Yeah.
It's before the
even grosser now.
Kardashians. It's before Anaconda brought Baby got back. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a
Dude.
different time.
That's insane. I can't believe that's even a thing.
Regina George at some point is supposed to be disgustingly obese, and she has
She looks
a
normal.
nice looking butt, and it's but they've obviously padded it. She looks like she's wearing a very thin woman wearing a diaper, and they're like, "Oh, you look so gross," and I'm like, "You don't look gross. You maybe look like you're wearing a diaper, but I just it's so weird, dude.
Yeah.
What kind of things were we feeding into? I don't want to get on a soapbox, but
Right.
The fact that was even a narrative around this film is just fucking astounding. And then you look at her and she got way thinner.
Right.
And, kind of started to look, she got sort of gaunt at one point.
Very, very unhealthy.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if all that influence of people asking her
It
crazy
has
shit like
to.
that. I mean, she probably got some type of body image.
Well, you probably
problem.
already have that, going into it, and then you get it reinforced by all these stupid, interviews and things.
Her mom, I believe, is also a crazy person.
Right.
Yeah,
And so
that's been a big problem in her life. And her mom and dad had some crazy wild divorce, and there was issues of money and I think things like that as well.
So anyways, I just think that she is a really good actress, a good comedic timing, really good in the dramatic stuff. I thought she was great. And then I was trying to think what did she really do after this, which is not really anything? Did she do anything after this? I don't know about much.
She did a few projects, but nothing. This was like the last really big thing. Like she definitely had some stinkers.
She did a movie where she was like a serial killer with Vince Vaughn or something like that.
It was like, I Know Who Killed Me. I never saw it.
I watched it on the plane, like Vince Vaughn and her switch bodies, and all of a sudden Vince Vaughn is like a teenage girl, and he was like a serial killer, and then
she was in that.
I thought so. Maybe it's a different woman. I
don't think that was her.
Oh my
I think you're combining Freaky Friday and Psycho, maybe.
Exactly, because she wasn't Freaky Friday.
Is that what Vince Vaughn?
Before no, Vince
Psycho is.
Vince Vaughn was not in Freaky Friday, but she was, and that was before.
There's a Lindsay Lohan lookalike in a Vince Vaughn movie where they switch bodies.
I know that it's called Freaky.
Okay, yes, that's exactly what it is. I watched it on the airplane.
Coming
up
on next BBK.
Right.
Freaky.
I don't think that was her. In that.
Okay, well, this is a good pod.
Yes, it is. Okay, I'd love to get some feedback from the ladies here, and because obviously grown men talking about teenage girls is just weird. So, when was the first time you saw this movie, Carrie? And is this something that you saw early on or later?
So this actually arrived later in my life. I was from 18 to 25 having children. So about this time that this movie was coming out, 2004? Yeah. So from 98 to 2005, I was having children. This was actually brought to me by my children. So fast forward about 6 to 10 years when they get into the catty tween years.
Oh, yeah, the like junior high.
Yeah. And I was like, who is Glenn Coco? Why do you keep saying this over and over again? So yeah, before memes, before all that, I got the 411 for my children.
By the way, fun fact, Glenn Coco was one of Tina Fey's old high school.
That's so badass.
Classmates.
He's a real person, huh?
Real person.
Oh, Glenn Coco. Shout out to you, Glenn Coco.
You go, Glenn Coco. So weird. Melissa?
I don't remember the first time I saw this, but it definitely was not early on. I feel like it was later on, maybe Netflix type of watch.
Right.
And I thought it was hilarious. I absolutely loved it. And I couldn't wait to show my daughter, because at the time I was like, oh, it's got these like great messages about, why bullying is wrong and why we should accept everyone. And then I was like, and then there are the sex ed scenes and the projector room up above the auditorium or whatever. So I waited on that.
But I had statutory rape,
Yeah,
never too early for that.
Minimal. But yeah, I had the same reaction as Zach actually when I recently rewatched it, that this is not as great as I remember. So I'm not sure how many years passed that my opinion changed that much, but definitely, I think a lot of it is the comedy that the first time around, it strikes you as really funny. And then when you already know the lines, it just doesn't quite hit the same beats.
Or you have a 13-year-old daughter now and you're like, wait a minute.
I think she still likes the movie.
Bradley, your thoughts?
I'm sure Melissa and I probably watched it together, or maybe we didn't. But I remember hearing like, oh, Tina Fey wrote the screenplay, and like that's kind of like a big deal. It's like, oh, I mean, I like Tina Fey. I thought she was funny, so I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's like a Saturday Night Live person, not just like getting their own movie as an actress. Like she's actually the one who wrote it, and so I wanted to see that, and it's okay. Like it's an okay movie, but there's so many other teen comedies that I enjoy a lot more than this one.
Right. But those are probably rated R teen comedies, and this is a solid PG-13, right? This is a PG-13?
That's perfect, because that's a discussion I wanted to have, was like, I mean, and I'll save it for drinking with the director, but like we should talk about that.
Okay.
Should this have been R-rated?
Well, I read a couple lines that they ended up changing to make it PG-13. One was when he asked her if she wants her muffin buttered. That was supposed to be, have you had your cherry popped?
Oh, wow.
And then the other part was the made out with a hot dog was she masturbated with a hot dog.
Oh, shit.
So they changed those two specific lines to get the rating.
And then the makeout scene in the bathroom, I think, was supposed to be an oral sex scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
And that would have made it so much better.
Well,
and they didn't. They
wonder,
kept the young woman of Asian descent saying the N-word.
Oh, that's right.
I was like,
but do you speak Vietnamese? Do you know if she actually said it?
I don't know, but the subtitles.
Yes, I know.
And I didn't. And that's like one of the only subtitles in the movie. It's not like I watched the movies like Brad does with the subtitles on.
Of that age.
I was thinking about this, and I'm like, because I've seen this movie a bunch of times. It's one of those that just when it's on, oh, shit,
gotta watch
there's nothing else on. I enjoy this, and I was trying to think of the first time and why I watched it. And I think it's because I'd seen I've seen
McAdams?
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
And I saw her in Wedding Crashers before I saw this. And I heard that it was a Tina Fey movie. I like Tina Fey and Saturday Night Live. And I knew she was in this. And so I started watching it one afternoon. And when she came on screen, I was like, holy crap, that's a totally different character. And she's got a lot of range. This is really cool. And that just kind of sucked me into this whole thing. Because I wasn't really a fan of Lindsay Lohan, or I don't like the whole drama that was around her at the time when I watched this, because it was years later. And so, but I was trying to think of like, why does this movie speak to me? And I think it's just because of all the what?
You teenage girl, you. Come on.
But I just love the cliques and all the groups, and it kind of reminds me of school and having the different groups, and a bunch of them are represented, and it's just kind of fun to reenact that and to watch that, and that's, I think, why I kind of like watching it. So
this is another movie that makes me wish that I went to a bigger high school.
Right.
I watch these teen movies and like high school movies, and there's so many kids. Not everybody knows everybody. You know what I mean? Like the school that I went to, like you knew every person in every grade.
Dude,
I
ran into that as the first time I taught seniors as a high school teacher. I taught seniors, and like I had kids in class that didn't know each other. And I was like,
how?
I was like, how the hell do you guys not know each other? And then I started thinking, oh, well, they have like 6 different junior highs and like 150 different elementary schools. So they're all coming from different places. Of course, they're not going to know each other versus us.
Yeah.
Our little small town, we have the same elementary, same junior high.
I remember
same around the table. Like we all fed into one high school from one junior high and maybe a handful of elementary. But did you guys have more than one?
No, we only had one elementary.
One elementary, but thank God they
got feeder schools.
They brought some of the other. They brought some of the other junior highs.
Hillbilly kids from Grattan and Hickman, and they'd all show up in Waterford. Yeah,
it's Ferry, Valley Home for us.
No offense to my cousins and we would get the occasional Oakdale kid, and I don't know why. Like I had a friend who lived out like
got expelled
River Road, like hella far out there. And he would drive to school every day. And I was like, why are you going to Houston rather than Oakdale? And I don't know what the reason was.
Couldn't hang in Oakdale.
He didn't make the wrestling or the football team.
That's probably exactly what it was. He wasn't going to start.
He was a dirt biker.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. So really? Did he have like a huge dirt bike thing at his house out on the river?
His stepdad was a
my cousin
world champion.
My cousin bought that house. Out on river.
The big cabin?
Yep. My cousin bought that house, completely gutted it and remodeled it.
Oh, shit.
Put in a freaking bass lake and shit.
Let's go do dirt bikes,
Anyways, this is really inside baseball.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I just remember like getting to college and talking to these kids that went to school in like Southern California, like LA schools and stuff. And they were like, oh yeah, there was like 6,000 kids at the school, you know? And I'm just like, what the fuck? That's so crazy.
We had like 600 cars. Yeah.
It was literally like 400, I think. Yeah. So anyways, I always wanted to go to like a bigger high school and have like that experience of like all those cliques, kids you didn't know. Like, could you imagine? I could not imagine.
And draw out all the tables with all the different groups.
It was like if you liked a chick, you'd known her since kindergarten. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's super weird. Like, they know too much about you. Like, I feel like you'd have way more opportunity to like meet chicks. Like, I finally, like, when I met my wife, like, she didn't know me from kindergarten. That's probably the reason why she liked me. You know what I mean?
I didn't like date anyone from my town either.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the new kid experience gets so much more intense.
But imagine having that every day at high school, like seeing somebody and be like, I don't know who that is. You know what I mean? She just goes to your school. That's fucking wild.
She came from Africa.
Why is she white?
That is
when she says
line.
Jumbo to the African American kids at the table. I was like, what is happening?
Oh my God. The secondhand embarrassment.
There's definitely some great lines. It's a very entertaining, fun
very
movie.
Quoted, right?
Very quotable movie. Of course, I've been trying not to use the word fetch yet. And what was funny is I was listening to the last pod, and I'd kind of forgotten, which I forget most things the minute we step out the door. I don't remember that.
Absolutely.
Which is great because I get to listen to the pod like it's brand new again. But I'd forgotten that I threw out fetch, and Nate is like trying to keep going. He has no idea what I'm talking about at all.
No, you and I vibe on it for a second, and then Nate has no clue what's going on.
No idea. I was like, oh, obviously he won't be joining us still. So
that's how we got here.
We miss you, Nate.
We do.
And you'll never hear that.
I did ask my boyfriend if fetch was really from England. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's a word that Tina Fey made up. It's short for fetching. And
Okay, so we're gonna have to rewind. You are in a relationship with a person from another country.
I am.
Can we discuss this? How cool is his accent?
Don't worry, Brad will edit it out later.
Is it
Swoony.
Is it Swoony?
It is.
God, I bet it is. I don't even know him or what he looks like, but I bet it's fucking
without me even
Swoony.
knowing it. Boy.
Well, real quick segue, because I want to give first props to Scotchback. Just a couple weeks ago, he played at Dying Breed Brewing in Oakdale, and they just basically filled the house up again and put on a rocking show. And people got drunk, people got dancing, and it was a lot of fun.
it was great.
So it was
So
great.
fun.
But speaking of bands, so your boyfriend is also part of
Several, actually.
numerous bands.
Yes.
Can we plug him? Can we plug the band?
You got something to plug. You got to plug it.
Absolutely.
I know there's a show coming up in a couple months.
She's so red right now.
In February, they'll be at the State. Woohoo. Live and direct, Modesto. It's long time coming.
Which band is that? That's the Prince?
This will be When Doves Cry.
Yeah, When Doves Cry.
Gotta see
It's
him.
a
I've been
Prince
following him
cover band?
Yes, for 5 years.
And he has an English accent?
Yes, see, look at you.
Oh
I see
my
heart
God,
eyes.
Happy for your boyfriend.
Heart eyes in his face
Look
right
at
now.
her shirt.
Bro.
Yep.
Dude,
I'm wearing the t-shirt.
that's fucking sick.
Carrie's legitimately one of the biggest Prince fans. Well, the biggest
In my
Prince
defense,
fan.
I started
know.
following this band before he joined.
Yes,
So
yes.
Oh my
So you're
goodness.
not technically a groupie?
that's
So
not
that's how he met you. You were a groupie of the Prince cover
we
band?
have a Mean Girls to cover. This is not on the agenda.
Carrie's not a tall woman, so I think she Prince would be like a tall, dark, and handsome to you, wouldn't he?
Probably wear the same size shoes. It'd be adorable. Dang.
Same size
I'm
blouse.
Oh my goodness. I love this.
Well, now that we've completely humiliated our guest, she's so red right now. I love it. So yeah, let's move on. Well, first of all, I'd like to say nice short runtime, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
First thing I noticed.
Absolutely.
$17 million budget, 133 mil.
Nice.
Made some dollars.
Made some money. So
On that, I was very surprised. So I saw it, and I had a little roller coaster of emotions because when I went to the IMDb, I saw that it said Tina Fey screenplay and book by Rosalind Wiseman. I was like, oh, so she didn't actually write the screenplay. But then I did a little more research, and I found out that this book was actually just a self-help book for girls to get through their high school years, and it's a complete nonfiction book.
yeah.
And so she just basically adapted that into a screenplay. So then I gave more props to Tina.
Her speech in the auditorium or whatever at the end of the movie, that was all from the book, and that's it.
Verbatim, and that's it. Yeah.
I thought you were going to
Crazy.
say she wrote the Burn book. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, used a lot of stuff that happened in her high school growing up, and before we move on to the next segment, we are part of the Deluxe Edition Network, and this month we have a couple of podcasts of the month because we are the podcast of the year.
Hey.
Yeah.
So we gotta give some props to podcasts of the month,
Heavy built.
which are
Beard Laws, a podcast and YouTube show where a bunch of guys with some amazing beards talk all sorts of topics. They're not just talking beards; they're talking everything that's on their minds.
I'm pretty sure I said they talk beards last time.
Yeah, you kind of screwed it. No, I think you kind of corrected yourself, but yeah, they're talking everything.
Like literally, I think I said, "Oh yeah, they talk about beards and whatever this blah blah," and then their commercial came on right after it, and they said, "We don't even talk about beards." Like literally,
I was going to say, how has
it was
Scotchy
ironic.
Plaza
It was ironic humor.
it was
Yeah. So Beard Laws, and then also
Take on the World, which is they talk about all kinds of different subjects. A couple I was looking at, they have one about AI and one about the Amish stud. Apparently some Amish guy that, I don't know if he's like a serial killer or something. I haven't listened to that one
I
yet.
thought he was just popping out all sorts of kids with all
Yeah,
these
sure.
different.
Gigolo.
We're talking a horse kind of stud.
I'm seeing a bunch of interested looking faces around the table, so maybe we should listen to Take on the World.
Amish stud sounds like somebody that would come fuck your wife for like a sheep or something like that. You'd give him like a couple of geese.
And then help put up your barn.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
definitely rocking the sheepskin condoms for
Oh,
sure.
for sure, dude. And it's not because it's a latex allergy either.
So go to deluxeeditionnetwork.com and listen to Take on the World and Beard Laws, and you can learn about the Amish stud and not beards.
There you go.
All right, go to the next segment.
Pull up a chair and grab yourself a drink. We'll hypothesize what directors think. Maybe sometimes get a guess. Makes us look good. Let's drink, laugh, and pretend we know what we're doing. Drinking with the director, brought to you by Last Call Brewing.
pushed the right button.
You sure did.
Good job.
You're 2 for 2 so far.
So far.
Carrie, I have the greatest idea that just came to me during our segue there. Can we record a Prince-themed bumper for one of our segments with your boyfriend or your band or your boyfriend's band? Oh my goodness.
That sounds great.
That would be sick, right?
That would be amazing.
All right, I'm in.
You know I'm in.
Cost us.
And even though this is
That
even though
probably
this
cost us.
You realize
Well-
that all the free music I've given you guys, it's not normal. Like people actually get paid for this stuff.
yeah.
You got to remember that he's having sex with the.
Assumptions.
Yes.
Assumptions.
Allegedly.
Apologies.
Wow.
Allegedly.
And I will say that even though this is a non-visual medium, I would love just to be like Morse Day fucking just going off while we're sitting there recording too. I'm just gonna be dancing in the studio
Oh, hell yeah. The fucking scarf?
and nobody's
Dude.
ever gonna see it.
Who's having an assless pants?
Oh, shit.
Everybody.
Yeah, I think
This is
we'll
all
just
getting
all
cut
do
out,
it.
So none of this is getting cut out.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's good shit. Okay, so we are drinking with the director. And before we talk to Mark Waters, we're going to go around the table and see what everybody's drinking. Zach, what do you got?
So I walked in with some beer tonight.
Which
And
just blew my fucking mind.
Scott looked at me and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You've never brought beer once ever." And I was
That's
like,
not true. I think you've
You
done it
have
like once or
I
twice.
did 2 times. So I brought some beer and I am drinking Rogue Ale's Bat Squatch. And it's got like a sort of a Shrek looking Sasquatchy bat guy on the can here. It's Shrekish. It's very good.
Busy.
12 fluid ounces. I was trying to see the fucking alcohol content and I read the 12 ounces. 6.7% alcohol.
Okay.
I've seen our boy Hank drink this on his Instagram, so I saw it in the store and I was like, that looks delicious.
Brad, what do you got?
I got myself a mouthful of miracles.
Yes, you do. Just listen to you talk.
I know. Everything I say.
Yeah.
Just saving lives out
He's
there.
really trying to win.
Mouthful of Miracles is a cold IPA, also known as a brute IPA, and it's from Dust Bowl Brewing. And this is a great beer. It's one of my favorite beers from Dust Bowl Brewing. And Dust Bowl started off, 2009, I believe, like pretty recent. Mm-hmm. And they're a little small brewery when they first started, and now they are doing big time. This beer is available at Disneyland right now.
No shit.
That's awesome.
Available at Disneyland.
awesome.
Dust Bowl Brewing on a different trajectory than our girl Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys
He's
started
not
from the
available
bottom,
at Disneyland.
and now they're at Disneyland.
The
Now we hear.
Alcohol business has been good for them.
Yes.
What?
Oh, love
The
it.
same trajectory as Lindsay Lohan's cocaine dealer.
Melissa, what are you drinking over there?
I'm a little embarrassed by how basic I am. I just finished actually a mimosa. I need to go get a refill here.
Where your bubbles come from?
Yeah,
Give them some
I do a
props.
nice full glass of some Miller Cellars Sparkling out of Murphy's, California. Fabulous local spot where we like to go about once a month because I will drain those bottles real fast and then just, a light spritz of orange juice.
Just a touch, just a tad.
Yeah, if you
waft
ever
it over,
have to make a
that's all.
if you
Pass it
ever
over
have
the
to,
top.
yeah, it's basically just as long as you just kind of just mix like maybe a little rub around the rim with the
little
orange juice,
Just an
the
orange
tip.
juice rim.
just the tip,
I love Murphy's. Murphy's is such a fucking cool place.
It is beautiful.
If you've never been to Murphy's, California, and you're looking for a getaway, do it.
It's a fun time.
Oh, it's great.
Good food, good drinks.
Carrie,
Do I really have to say?
You-
You thought you were basic. I am rocking with some Malibu rum
Oh,
and cran grape
were they out
over
of
ice.
Scott didn't,
Cran grape
damn.
and Malibu rum. Love it. That's
Scott didn't have any fireballs.
You do
Are
your
Went
we
straight to the
19?
Malibu.
I told you I had a little late start on.
it goes with the
adulting.
movie.
It's
Perfect.
basically
Thank you.
it's her version of a purple drink.
Thank you. See, got my purple drink.
Yeah.
Purple Rain.
I am drinking some Last Call Brewing Growing Gold Harvest Lager. And it's a very cool concept because our good friend Josh from Hoisting Heavies, it's a collaboration with their orchard, which is the Gold River Orchards. They partnered with Last Call, and they have walnut. I guess it's infused or it's walnut in it.
Makes it
oils,
sound
I'm
very,
assuming?
very fancy.
Some sort of walnut. Yeah, it's black lager with Gold River Orchards walnuts.
It's beautiful.
So it's 5%, and it's a dark kind of almost a porter.
Oh wow! Look at the color
Yeah.
of it.
Right?
which, you know, if you ever seen walnut...
Stain your furniture with it?
Yeah, the husk, the green part is definitely leave your fingers black on it. So it's kind of interesting. But really, it's tasty. They're trying to figure out some ways to kind of get walnuts incorporated in some new products, which is fucking great. I'm a walnut farmer as well, and so I absolutely support this and think they're doing great things.
Shout out to Jim Carrey's biggest fan ever.
Yeah,
Big Josh.
He loves him some Nature Calls.
The best.
Not the first one, the second one. The second one is the best movie ever.
Loves to get his nuts and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, there it is. So the director of this movie, Mark Waters, not exactly a household name.
No.
That he did Freaky Friday, which we kind of were talking about earlier.
With Lindsay Lohan or the lookalike.
So that
The
had Lindsay
actual-
Lohan in it. Yeah. So
Okay.
Live in the flesh.
and so that's probably where he got the idea for having her in this. And actually, she originally was going to be Regina George, but they realized that it wouldn't be good for her brand to be the mean girl. Apparently,
Boy.
that's what. Yeah,
And I don't know if it was Lorne Michaels or whoever, but they said that the bad girls can't play bad girls. Like a good girl has to play a bad girl.
which is why Rachel McAdams.
Interesting.
Yeah, because apparently she's a good girl and she did a hell of a job. She was fantastic. So yeah, some of the other movies he did: Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, Mr. Popper's Penguins. I know we all saw that
But
one.
wait a second. Go back to that though real quick. So was Lauren just like, yeah, Lindsay Lohan's a bad girl and she can't play the bad girl?
I don't think she was a bad
wasn't
girl at
bad
that
yet.
time.
Yeah.
I think maybe behind the scenes she was one of those.
You think so?
Like,
I think she got sort of typecast as the like wholesome girl from Disney to Herbie to Mean Girls, and then she was like, "I'm gonna show them." Look how it works out terribly for all of these women that are like, "I'm gonna show," like Britney Spears, like it worked out great for her. Freaking Lindsay Lohan, like all these like Disney.
I think they were treated
Christina
like gods and princesses, so they thought they were just like better than everybody else, and I think that just kind of probably fucked with their.
I don't think so, man. I think this is like a serious like abuse issue.
Well, she's like the actual redheaded stepchild, though, like of all of
That's freaking
pop children.
It's very sad, dude.
But it's definitely a thing with an actress or actor that has a wholesome image, and if they keep doing it over and over again, they want to break out. I know Anne Hathaway. There's a movie that she did, and because she was the Princess Diaries, and so she's very wholesome, and she did this. I don't remember what it's called, but I remember seeing this article about it. It's like where she ends up like with a bunch of gangbangers or whatever, and she takes her top off. That was her first news. She's trying to break out of her thing.
Yeah,
you've seen a couple
scenes from that one.
But yeah, so I think, and it was literally I'd heard that she's just like wanted to change her image. She didn't want to be just pigeonholed into this good girl thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did he do anything after this?
Vampire Academy.
I haven't seen any of this stuff.
Cheerleader Death Squad was a TV movie.
Yeah, didn't really do a lot after this.
That's interesting. He's got like a real focus on young women in his movies.
Yeah, but I thought it was really there's some really cool, interesting shots. You know, it's like when they go into like the jungle fighting, where it kind of turns into the whole melee, and there's some pretty complicated things going on here. And I mean, obviously, this movie is definitely the screenplay is. Most people could probably direct this, but I think he did a great job, and I don't know.
I saw Bad Santa 2 on his. Was Bad Santa 2 actually with Billy Bob, or was that like a?
I think it was.
Oh no, yeah, Billy Bob's in Bad Santa.
He was in Bad Santa. Okay, I didn't know if they'd. I don't think I ever saw the second one.
So, do we have any questions or just thoughts in general at this point?
I want to go back to that question we were talking about, which is this better as an R-rated comedy?
Right.
So American Pie comes out. I mean, this is like 7 years earlier before is I think American Pie. So that's one of those things that maybe they're looking to not go that route and be like, they don't want to be like the female American Pie. Mm-hmm. But I felt like they were trying to push to the edge of R-rated so far. Like, why not just go? Like, I don't know. I always feel like anytime a movie is right on the verge of being R-rated and they're like cutting back, I think it hurts the movie. So I feel like they should have just allowed it to be an R-rated comedy.
I think there's a lot of people on the outside of this movie that were probably pretty invested in it being PG-13.
Yeah.
Because you've thrown R rating on a movie like this starring Lindsay Lohan, the Disney
And they're in high
princess.
school.
Yeah, and they're in high school, all that. I mean, I know American Pie people were in high school, but I just feel like it's kind of that's the kiss of death for a lot of like young, like a seemingly young person movie, and you throw the R rating on it, especially when people used to go to the movies. Like this movie like is probably a Netflix movie that comes out and no one ever hears from it again if it comes out today, right? I mean, whether it's good or not. There's tons of movies like this that come out on all these streaming services that never do anything. I think the reason that it did well is because of Lindsay Lohan, and it probably had a lot of those, you know, preteen, teen Disney viewers that were following Lindsay Lohan to it. You know?
And Lindsay was only pretty much the only one of the main girls that has, because Rachel McAdams really hadn't done anything big yet. This kind of launched her. This was Amanda Seyfried's first movie.
Yeah, that's
which
crazy.
is insane. And I guess Blake Lively read for that part, and I guess the producers didn't like her. They said keep looking, which is, I mean,
messed up.
Yeah, but they liked not Karen Smith, her character Amanda Seyfried. They liked her because she was spacey and daffy. Apparently,
she's pretty fucking spacey.
Dude, she's great.
Yeah.
Played it well.
Really, really good. But what was interesting is the ages of some of the other actresses and actors in this. Rachel McAdams was 26.
Whoa.
The boyfriend guy was old.
Damien, the friend, was 26 at the time.
Huh.
And how old do you think Kevin G was? The rapper, mathlete.
The Indian kid?
Yeah.
Oh.
Probably
15?
35.
16.
Dude,
That's hard.
Brad nailed it. He was 15.
I was going to say, he seemed young.
Wow,
He seemed
really?
really young. Like, he did not look old at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he looked a little bit more than that. But yeah, everybody was way older than the characters. Well, Lindsay was 18 and Amanda Seyfried was 19. But
And I love the age gap too between Rachel McAdams and Amy Poehler, her mom.
Right.
Yeah, like 7 years
I think
apart or
it's 7,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
She's I think she's 32. I think. So yeah, what I'd kind of like want to know from him is like, as you're making something like this, can you see a star like happening?
I think that people would say yes, but that's only because after they've already become a star, people ask them that question and they're like, "Oh yeah, for sure."
Oh yeah, I
You know
totally
what
saw it.
I don't know. I mean, if you watch this movie, to me, the one that you think is going to be a star is fucking Lindsay Lohan.
Well, yeah.
To me, I mean, she's beautiful, she's super great, and she's a great actress. And you're like, this girl's going to go on to do all sorts of great stuff. And she went on to do nothing.
I disagree. I feel like Lindsay Lohan, she's very like, I'm in a play. Like, I don't ever feel like I believe.
Really?
I feel like she's kind of, maybe it's just maybe it is me thinking of Lindsay Lohan now, and it's just like kind of poisoning her performance. But I feel like she just comes across as kind of like that fake, like, I'm fake nice, and like she's kind of just going through the motions. Like when she starts to get in like her bitch mode, that's when she's at her best. But when she's playing like the nice girl, like
just like Lorne,
she kind of sucks. Like I don't think she's that great, and I think all the other girls are doing like more solid comedic performances. And I think Lindsay, when it comes to like the physical comedy and like things like that, she's not good at that.
She is not good at the like the pratfall-y type stuff.
Right.
But I think everything else, she's great. I thought she was really good.
Anybody else have anything for the director or just thoughts in general?
I didn't let my kids watch it for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then finally, like sitting down and watching it with them in their, again, tweens, early teens, I'm like, oh, I guess it's at the end kind of got a good message. But yeah, I was like,
I think it's interesting that it went on to become a musical and that they're now doing like a movie version.
We haven't
of
talked
the
about that
musical.
yet.
Yeah.
Great time to bring it up though. So what do you know about like the stage musical?
I don't know a lot. I was reading about it last night and I didn't realize, I guess Tina Fey is actually married to a composer, maybe.
Okay.
Because for the show, it looks like he did the music for it.
Right.
So that's interesting. I don't know a lot about it.
Well, they make all kinds of shit into musicals. So this doesn't surprise me that this would be a musical. But what was crazy is this trailer just dropped about a week or two ago.
She went through the exact same thing that you guys did.
Oh my God.
It's
I
hilarious.
sent it to these guys. I was like, did they just remake this movie straight up?
That's what the
'Cause there's-
trailer looks
there's
like.
no
'Cause it
singing.
doesn't show, no,
Yes.
none of this. And I'm like, okay, that scene looks like they're singing and dancing,
Right.
but you don't hear it.
At the very, very end, I think they show maybe a couple big numbers kind of at the tail end of it. But at that point, I'm already like, okay, well, I don't want to watch this. It's the same fucking movie with new people in it.
Right.
Same lines, you know, like get in loser, you know, like, like, okay, like is it just a remake? And Tina Fey's behind it. It was just so confusing that they didn't say that it was musical right off the bat.
Well, maybe now to be rated R.
For it to come out now, too, I mean, we've talked about some of the things that strike us as kind of dated. Like, what did they update? It looks like there's a little more diversity in the casting, but as far as some of the more questionable, I guess, plot lines and lines, have they changed?
Is Coach Carr making out with Trey Pack?
Isn't John Hamm Coach Carr?
I think he is.
I think so.
That's interesting.
I like that.
Because that is a weird part of the movie, is like joking, literally making a joke about making out with a student.
Not just one.
And two of them fighting.
Two, yeah.
And what's weird too is like
It's
it's
a
not
love
like this is
triangle.
like 1985 either. It's
Right.
like this is 2004.
Right.
This isn't Porky's. Like Porky's, they were like, "Oh, fucking, we're doing it. We don't care."
Yeah.
Like this is 2004. A little bit
Although,
later.
like, think about a lot of movies. Like, you remember? Have you watched Varsity Blues lately?
It's been a while.
I haven't seen it. In
Where
a
the
little bit.
teacher is like stripping. And,
Oh, and they're watching. And they get all into it, and she gets into it.
She gets into it. Yeah, dude. I think
That's-
this is like a.
Holy shit!
I
Forgot
guess
about
like
that.
if you're going, so like if your target audience is high school kids,
Right.
I guess I don't think we have two female people on the podcast right now. I know that it's a thing. Your
we also
target
have
audience.
one female cat that's sitting at the end of the table too. So 2 female people and one female cat.
Okay.
I'm not going to say my joke.
Thank you.
Your target audience is high school kids, right? Does it appeal to you at all? Or did you ever would it ever be because when I was in high school seeing Varsity Blues and the teacher was a stripper and blah, 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 I was like, oh, that's so cool. You know what I mean? Like you think about that as a young man, but I don't think young ladies, did you think about male teachers in that
God,
way?
no.
Was that a thing? Not at all, right?
I disagree, though.
The White Sox.
No
Oh,
crushes?
I'm sorry, young lady. How do you disagree?
I disagree.
It's the hair. It's the hair.
I had multiple friends of mine.
And you went to what school?
Wait, what are we saying?
He was friends with all 3 of the girls that went to Houston High.
This is true.
Okay, but
Thank you.
multiple girls that I went to high school with would tell me your dad's hot.
Oh, for
And consistently said that back in the day. And I was
Shout out to
like,
Brad's dad.
yeah.
This might be the episode that he listens to. I hope so. I hope this is the one episode
I
that he
had
listens
multiple friends that would say that, and they knew it would get on my nerves, and so they would oh yeah, I'm just
to. Would that get on your nerves?
a little bit. I was just like,
Would you be like, don't fuck my dad?
Look how proud of it he is today.
pretty much, don't fuck my dad. Leave him alone.
That's like one of the greatest insults that
yeah.
Hey, it's
They were basically making your mom jokes, but it was about your dad.
I know. Yeah, I guess it goes both
different, I
ways, and I couldn't handle it.
Threw my back out fucking your dad last night.
That's great.
I'm gonna fuck your dad and be your stepmom.
That's right.
Met Brad's dad.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I never can.
He's my neighbor.
I never can.
Shout out to my parents. Just last week was their 49th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
congrats to those two.
Way to keep those high school girls away from him.
You still got it.
Yeah.
I guess my whole point of it is that I can see the sexualizing of the female teacher, but the sort of sexualizing of the male teacher, and in a gross, weird way where the guy is not would you feel different about it if the PE teacher was a real attractive and he was making out with a student?
Dude, we had Miss Norbeck. I'm sorry. I can't even wrap my head around.
But you know what I'm saying? If it had been a real, say it was Chris Hemsworth is the gym teacher and he's making out with a female student, do you feel different about the scene because you feel gross about it now? Do you feel different about it, or does it still feel gross? I'm just curious. I'm not condoning any behavior.
That way. Why would these girls be interested in him whatsoever? It just didn't make any sense.
To me, it was the comedic contrast of his sex ed talks of just don't do it, you'll get chlamydia, and then
oh god, I didn't even think about that. Is that what the joke was?
To me, that's what makes it funny.
Damn.
Was Mr. Riley the hottest at our high school then,
for
or
crying
what?
out loud.
And always dribble before they shoot.
Yep, that's right. That was our sex ed in Oakdale.
Men always
dribble before they
He was,
shoot.
of course, also a coach.
Was
and a
that
Mormon.
is that
was
that's
our
a
Mormon
pre-cum
health
advisory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Interesting.
He's trying to say the pull-out method does not work.
exactly.
Right.
Wow, we watched.
Quote him. You quote him. As a father of four, he knows.
He was right. I mean, right? He's
Pretty
right.
much.
Absolutely. And that's a good line. I wish somebody told me
You
that.
still remember
Men
it to this
always
day.
dribble before they shoot. That's fucking wild.
I didn't even know that until
That
now.
was the wild, wild west. Like
We have educated you. You're welcome.
1995
Would
in
not read it.
California.
That's
That's
really
what we were
good.
Clay
teaching.
Thompson doesn't do that shit. He just catches and fires, man.
He has no kids.
And there you have it.
Yep.
Well, this went off the rails and I love it. Thank you so much. Any other questions? I think we should probably move on.
I think we should get that guy out of
All
here.
right, let's move on.
This is Take on the World with Johnny and Mike. And, people always ask me, hey, you got a podcast? What's it about?
I don't know. You ever want to cut your fingers off or learn about a sharp knife?
We could tell you that.
How about murder mysteries or hauntings or any kind of fringe subject?
Anything you could think of. We take on everything because we take on the world.
Now you go take on the world.
Is it a one-night stand? Do you hit him with the bus or take him home to mom and dad? It's like fuck, marry or kill. It's Shag Snack Body Bag.
That's great.
I mean, we got to talk a little bit about the fact that those buses go flying through there in front of the school when kids are everywhere and they're flying through there like at 50 mile an hour.
And I looked at the screen and there's it's not like it came around a blind corner. It looks
Right.
like it's just wide open.
Just a
street.
straightaway.
So he had to see her.
He did not stop nor honk his horn whatsoever. I'm telling you, it's
In
those
the burn book, too.
fetch-o ass bus drivers. They're out of control.
Okay, so we're gonna shag, snag, and body bag. Who wants to start this off with some shagging?
I'll start. I'm gonna shag 18-year-old Lindsay Lohan, and not
Who didn't see that coming?
and not in a
He
weird
said
way.
18-year-old.
I said it like
18-year-old.
I said it
Probably
like
started at
50
17.
times. I think she's super great. I think she is. I had a nickname when I was in school, and it was Wasted Talent. And I think that Lindsay Lohan, for different reasons than Lindsay Lohan, I was called Wasted Talent for a long time. And I think that she was just a huge waste of talent. I think she could have been a really big star. And I think that I don't know what happened to her, whether it was her parents' influence or whatever it was, but goddamn, I think she's great in this. And she just never really got a chance to do it because she sort of fell off a cliff or got hit by a bus or whatever the fuck happened to her.
Can we dig into that a little bit? You were wasted talent? Like,
yeah, it was a basketball thing. My basketball coach called me wasted talent. Ouch. And then it sort of got shortened into Dub T.
Damn. You had a nickname
Are you
for your
sure
nickname.
that's what it was short
And
for?
I got called Dub T for a long time.
Damn, your
for
coach was
wasted talent.
bullying you?
Yeah, the basketball coach, the same basketball coach was there when you were there. He was a fucking
a
asshole.
mean girl.
He was.
He was the meanest of the girls.
He was a mean
so basically his point was that you were good, but your head wasn't on straight. Is that kind of what it was?
It's pretty much the story of my
dick around
life.
in practice.
I had all the tools, but couldn't quite put it together.
Maybe Lindsay got voted most talented in senior superlatives too.
I bet she did.
Brad, what are you gonna shag?
I'm shagging the perfect sidekicks. Like Damien in this movie is just every time he's on screen, he's saying something funny or doing something funny, and it's like it lightens up the whole mood, and he's just perfect as a sidekick because he's kind of sometimes an asshole, but at the same time he's like lovable, and he just does some stupid stuff, and he's just kind of running around. And I like movies that have good sidekicks that like are good for comic relief. And I was thinking. This is a dumb one because a lot of people hate him, but like Pauly Shore and Encino Man, like he's just a perfect little sidekick. Always, especially in those high school scenes where it's like he always tries to like just kind of like semi antagonize the cool kids and stuff because he's not like trying to like try too hard like the main character, but he's like just kind of just being himself.
I love it.
Yep.
I think he's great. Have anybody seen him in anything else?
No,
not really.
I'm sure he's done
shame.
something, but he is great and really funny and got great comic timing, and I think he kills it in this for sure.
Melissa,
I'm going to go ahead and shag a female writer here. Tina Fey. I feel like you can tell the difference between characters who are female written by a female and otherwise. I'm not going to say it's perfect. That's why it's one night stand, but I definitely like some of the lines that she's put in the characters' mouths, and I like the way that she's written herself too as a female character.
She also like the ending, like the sort of message at the end is killer. And I think that's the reason why you see something like this and not American Pie, like have a musical and all of those things. You know what I mean? I think that like the message is great.
Nice. Carrie.
I'm going to go with Kevin G. That little mathlete. Did you see his business card that he flashed?
Dude,
what did it say?
awesome.
Badass MC? Like, come on. He can get it.
When he rips his polo off and screams at those kids, it's fucking great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love that he made it to the end of the movie, too. So.
Yep.
Yep.
I am going to shag portrayals of moms who can't let the past go because I'm pretty sure we've all seen that. I can think of a couple cheerleader moms come to mind. And it's just definitely, it was just done so well in this. And the fact that she got, Tina Fey got to have her good buddy in the movie as well.
Oh, yeah.
And she was so good. It's like, I'm a cool mom. She's so great.
And the daughter just despising her guts too. Like,
absolutely.
Like, she moved into their master bedroom. Like, that's wild.
That's so great.
Dude.
I could just imagine that conversation. She's like, "Wait, you want to move into our? Yeah, that's totally cool. Yeah, you want our bedroom? Sure,
right?
Yeah, absolutely."
I love that when she hugs Katie's character and like she's like injured by her
the rocks.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Or then, does anybody need a condom? Anybody need? She's backing out of the room. I'm like, holy shit.
Okay, moving on to snag. Who wants to snag something?
I like the element in this movie that they do sometimes in other films is quick interviews with side characters where it's like somebody will say something about somebody and then it's like they go to a bunch of different characters like for their perspective,
right? And
they're talking like directly to the camera. And this, like, she punched me in the face and it was awesome. Like, I mean, just like that kind of stuff is pretty silly. They do it in like Clerks. It's like whenever they're talking about something in the video store, they're talking about customers and they'll show them like, they'll quickly show you like 4 different versions of customers that they're talking about. And I like that little element in the movie. It's usually done for comedy and it's usually pretty funny. And this movie did a good job with it.
I dig it. Okay.
So some of the ones that Brad said, I'll snag the one-liners. In this movie, and the nerdy ones just totally send me. The limit does not exist. Comes out of my mouth like at least once a month. Gruel, but her hair is big because it's full of secrets. This movie is full of one-liners that some of them are the ones that you repeat and you don't even remember where they come from.
100%. Scary.
Like fetch.
I'm gonna
exactly
doesn't exist. Just like the limit. I'm gonna snag Mr. Duvall. So Tim Meadows, he comes in clutch, right? He's understanding. He's trying to get, Tina Fey's character to open up to him and talk about her divorce.
Open up in certain ways.
Well, yeah.
And coupling with the one-liner, because one of my favorite lines is when he talks about his nephew Anthony and how Anthony is upset when he's called Anthony, but not as upset as the fact that his sister named his nephew Anthony. So,
and I dig how he broke his hand right before this movie, and then he wrote it in as carpal tunnel.
Yep.
Right.
My carpal tunnel's back.
Yeah.
She's like, I got divorced. I win.
Tim Meadows you add him to pretty much any movie. He usually he's going to add an element. I mean, he just about steals.
Fucking Walk Hard, dude.
Walk Hard.
Yeah.
When he is
Oh
like,
my God.
it makes you feel good.
That
is
character in Walk Hard.
It's not addictive at all.
It makes sex even better.
You don't want it. Stay away from it.
It's the cheapest drug you can buy.
It's so fucking funny.
And he's great in what's the basketball movie with Will Ferrell?
the
Tropic Thunder, or no?
No. It's,
the Tropics are the team.
Yeah.
What the fuck is it called? It's called I keep thinking Side Out.
Semi-pro.
Thank you.
There
There you go.
Oh shit, we're a movie pod, I swear. I'm gonna snag it, Rachel McAdams, just because I just think she's just fantastic, and her range is just incredible, and not just for this, but for the stuff that she did later after this.
The Notebook.
When's Notebook? I love it.
So the Notebook was the same. I think that was the same year.
Was it really?
2004?
That's quite the
Crazy.
double feature right there.
Yeah, and she's 26 playing a 16-year-old in that one too, right?
And-
or am I mixing it up with another rom-com?
But you mentioned it that she was in Wedding Crashers like earlier, and she's fucking great.
So
in
Wedding
that,
Crashers
too.
was 2005. So I
Okay.
saw Wedding Crashers before I saw this.
Got
but it
you.
came
That's
out
weird to go
after.
to Mean Girls and then go to Wedding Crashers like right after that.
And Notebook, like in between, like all in 2 years.
But
That's
then,
wild.
but then she did a movie that we did, Spotlight, which was a
Yeah.
very dramatic.
And she's
role.
great in
She's
it.
fantastic in that.
Yep.
So I just love her range. She's fantastic. There's just something about her. The minute I saw her on screen, I just was drawn to her, and just in a way that I was like, this is a girl that I need to watch because she's amazing.
Hold up, I probably have this wrong. Brad, is she in season 2 of True Detective?
Yes.
She's the female detective in season 2 of True Detective, right?
I've seen season 1.
Oh God! If
need
you want to
Nate here.
watch,
you need Nate here. Nature.
if you want to watch, if you want to watch from the literal best season of TV that has ever been made, and watch something fall like Lindsay Lohan-esque off of a cliff, watch season 2 of True Detective. Holy fuck!
That's why I haven't watched it.
But
I've heard from a lot of folks that it's
Rachel McAdams is good in it.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if I'm going to shag something, snag something, there's a scene.
Shag it all.
There's a scene that's like a second long scene in this movie that is like sad and the funniest fucking thing that I have ever seen. And it is in the background when Regina George is in her house and her sister is watching Girls Gone
Oh my
Wild
God.
on the TV.
Yes.
And she is flashing the TV.
Working and flat.
And it is sad and makes me fucking laugh so hard every single
one.
time that I see it.
about that.
And it's one of like the most like it's like left an impression on me from this movie because I'm just like, oh my God, it's so fucking wild. But I mean, that's the house where that shit's gonna happen.
That would
right?
be.
Like,
That's so accurate.
it's so on point.
And early on, she's doing like the same dance moves that they end up doing at the like the Christmas. Yeah,
Yep.
they're doing like the same type of moves there. It's pretty classic.
Dude, so crazy. So crazy. But yeah, freaking I love that scene. There's a couple of those that really hit in this movie, but that one for me, it's super short and it gets me every time.
Love it. That was everybody's snack.
Yeah.
Everybody's snack. Okay, body bag.
Who wants to go first?
I will body bag dated references to the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
That Damien plays the gay best friend fairly well,
Right.
but the too gay to function
Right.
just cuts a little close. And then the fact that kind of the hidden plot line that we don't reveal till the end is that Janice was kind of ostracized because Regina said
Right.
she was a lesbian, which she ends up not being, but
She
at the
was
same
Lebanese.
time,
Yep.
yeah, which is kind of a funny joke.
No,
but
that's
in this
fucking,
day and age, it's a little
fucking-
wince.
It's absolutely hilarious that somebody misinterpreted her. Regina George misheard her saying that she was a lesbian when she said she was Lebanese, and that like started the whole thing. I think that's pretty fucking clever. However, I do think that like they sort of like you can tell this is 2000, like early 2000s.
Janice was just so wounded by this, right? Every single time it comes up, she cuts it off.
Yep.
She doesn't want to hear about it. This is like a turning point for her in her young life.
so wait, so let me understand completely. So you don't like that she was so upset about it, that she was so like this was such a horrible thing for someone to say that she was a lesbian, that she was. Oh, I get
Yes.
that. Okay, I get that. I get that.
And Janice is kind of my body bag because I would say, and again, maybe she had a deep wound to, get revenge on, but still, like, again, she was mean just to be mean. Like, she kind of set up Katie to do all the bad things. She was like the mastermind behind it all. So if you want to talk Mean Girls, she's kind of the one.
Yeah, for sure.
Brad?
I'm gonna say Katie getting the spring fling queen or whatever it was. Like it doesn't necessarily make any sense because okay, she does kind of atone. Like she stands up at the little meeting and says it was her, so she gets in trouble. Why the hell is then all of a sudden she's getting spring fling queen?
Remember though, half the students voted for her just because she pushed.
Yes, they
Regina
thought she
George
pushed
in
her
front
in
of
front
us.
of
I'm voting
those.
for her 'cause
I think
she
there was like
pushed
one
her.
quick clip where somebody like put
It's
a
two
ballot
boys.
in, right?
Two
Yeah.
boys.
Like, I'm voting for Regina Queen, and then I'm voting because she got pushed in front. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But I'm with you. It probably wasn't enough to like
Doesn't make a ton of
to
sense
sell it.
you think they would find somebody else who's kind of cool and like been like, yeah, let's vote for this person. I don't know. The fact that she gets it, and of course, she gets to make her little speech and stuff. It was just, I think they just had trouble figuring out how to end the movie, and so they're like, no, I guess we'll do it this way.
I'm going to be super annoying and just reiterate what I said earlier in the podcast. The fact that Lindsay Lohan was getting flack or people were telling her, how does it feel to be a plus size actress in this role?
That's insane.
When she was extremely thin and looked great is just
and a teenager.
Fucking gross. And 18 years old. Yeah. It's just super gross. Just fucking no wonder she had like body image issues and things like that. Like that's just terrible.
Well, in the movie we talked about Notting Hill a couple weeks ago, I talked about paparazzi, and I mean, if there's anybody who had to go through like the waves and waves of paparazzi, Lindsay Lohan as a person, just trying to navigate that from 18 to whatever. I mean, it's no wonder she flipped the fuck out and was doing coke and just going wild.
Well, and Julia Roberts' character in that movie said she'd been on a diet since she was however old.
Right.
I mean, that's just a fact of life if you're in that business.
Absolutely.
Crazy stuff.
I was going to body bag like just drugs and alcohol in general for ruining her career. But I think I'd rather body bag the biggest jump scare in the history of film.
Body bagging that?
I'm glad you get to mention
because it scared me so much.
That's one of the best parts of the movie.
What's the jump scare? The
bus.
She gets hit by a bus.
Dude.
Which
That's
one?
awesome.
There's a couple. The first one?
The first one. Because it's one of those things, you're watching the movie, it's been funny, it's been great. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes this crazy jump scare, and it scared me. It's kind of a running joke. I mentioned
it
this.
is. No, that's a beautiful body bag. That's perfect.
I also want to piggyback my body bag with another like I'm not trying to be too anything, but like the weird thing of like young women calling other young women sluts and whores. Like I don't understand. It totally happens, but like I don't get that. And Tina Fey even says in the thing like, you guys have got to quit calling each other sluts because it makes it okay for the boys to call you sluts, right? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's like an antiquated like thing. Like people, maybe that's not happening anymore, but I'm sure it is. Like, I'm sure that like the worst thing that you can call like a young girl in high school by another girl is like that she's a slut or a whore or whatever it is. Like, I fucking hate that. It just it feels gross to me.
All right. Moving on to the next segment.
Crackle, Pluto, HBO, Find Anime on Crunchyroll, Peacock, Hulu, Disney, Netflix, Tubi, Sling TV, Showtime, Fubo. What the fuck is Fubo? I'm sure it'll cause some sensation. It's a streaming recommendation.
Okay, what are some movies that you guys would like to recommend based on Mean Girls? Who's got one?
So I've got one. So one of my favorite movies of all time, we've done a podcast on it. Dazed and Confused, the 1993 Richard Linklater. It's on Hulu, and if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's super awesome. Not the same type of comedy as Mean Girls, but it's based in high school, 1979, I believe.
Definitely a lot of clicks going on.
Super clicky, some Mean Girl action, great music, great acting. Young Ben Affleck, guy that touches his nose a lot, like freaking
Wiley Wiggins,
dude. It's such a classic movie for me, and makes me think of just being young and. It was even, it was like 20 years after Scott was in high school, but like, it's like right around the same time. So you guys check it out. It's really good. It's on Hulu right now.
The story of Tim Lincecum.
It's very Tim Lincecum.
That's great. Brad, what do you got? Oh, Melissa's got something.
I don't have a movie. I have a series.
Perfect.
So I feel like the beginning of Mean Girls is kind of the worst of what high school might be. Towards the end, you start to get a glimpse of what it might be if people are kind of accepting of who all of the different cliques are. Aww. So my daughter has gotten me watching the series Heartstopper on Netflix, which is based on a graphic novel. And it just seems to me like a utopia of what high school may be if everyone is accepted for who they are. So British series, fabulous. There are 2 series out right now on Netflix. Based on the British graphic novel.
Cool.
Involves rugby, I believe.
It does, yes. Right. There's some rugby.
Ruggers.
Yeah, there are some trips to Paris. It's all a good time. I wish I went to school there.
Carrie, has your boyfriend watched it?
I will be sure to ask.
Imagine I always think about like living in Europe, the fact that like if in whatever country you're in, you can just be in a different country like within like 2-3 hours, like no matter what direction you're going most of the time. It's like, that's kind of crazy that
Spain in an hour.
for us, it's like going to a different state, but like for them, it's like,
Right.
oh, we're just going to a whole different
Well,
country.
it's more like a different county for us, honestly. Like it takes hours to get out of the state. So.
Literally. I drove 3.5 hours the other day just to
Still in
get
California.
from San Francisco to our house.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Carrie, you got something?
You know, I don't have a movie, and this is kind of old, but the first thing that kept coming to my mind trying to think of like a mean girl was Ozark. So if you haven't seen the series Ozark, Ruth, she's a badass.
Dude.
But even Wendy, like, I don't know, it might toggle between the two of them because they're just kind of, yeah.
It's so weird that I've watched the first, I think, 2 or 3 seasons, and I was kind of waiting for it to finish before I wanted, because I didn't want to watch the next season until it was completely done, and I just haven't done it yet.
I haven't
and
either.
need
I haven't
to.
watched the last episode or the last.
I thought
part of it.
Netflix just plops it all out there for you.
Well,
There's something about finishing something that's kind of sad, though.
Yes.
So
Strong women characters in that whole show, though. Wendy,
big time.
the Ruth, the daughter,
lady
like
on the hill.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, they're scary.
the badass freaking like cartel lady, dude. Really strong series for sure, and especially the first 2 seasons.
They're all
super good.
Yeah. When I think of this movie, I got to go with one of my all-time favorites, Clueless. And I don't know what it is about that. And it's me and my brother, we quote that movie back and forth all the time. And
this is 2 big burly farm dudes.
Are they
I
rolling with their
love thinking
homies?
about you guys on the tractor and like you're just like quoting-
As if.
Hey, you taking the tractor over to the backfield today? As if.
that's way harsh, Tim. Yeah, so it's on Paramount and Pluto with ads.
Right.
I love it.
Just
Brad,
picturing you and
anything?
you
We'll
and
have to
your
watch it
brother
now.
watching Spartacus together.
No, it's Clueless.
My favorite high school movie of all time is Better Off Dead.
Oh, good one.
Better Off Dead it's got a lot of different cliques and stuff, and it's just a lot of awkward people and some bullies, and it's a fun time.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's got also, like I said in my shag, it's got a great sidekick character. You've got Booger as
Curtis Armstrong.
Curtis Armstrong out there just putting in work as the buddy who just doesn't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so
Should
good.
I watch it?
I think you should.
I think so.
I think it's one of those ones that you're gonna be like, this is a fucking weird movie. But I think you'll laugh a couple
It's
times.
Cusack, and it's charming.
It's really
weird.
strange.
It's really weird, but it's good.
I don't know, guys.
It's better.
Getting
It's,
sided over here by Zach. I love it.
I think you'll like it better than Strange Brew. But I'm not going to say you're going to like it, but I think you'll like it better than Strange Brew.
There you go.
There has never been like an easier bet than saying that I will like anything better than I like Strange Brew.
Oh man. But that's available on Fubo, everybody's favorite, and Paramount. So whatever way you want to go.
Very nice. All right, let's move on to the next segment.
No jet wash for Maverick, Meg still on that goose stick. Iceberg list Titanic, Leo's drawing that nude shit. Jim fucks Nadia like we all thought he should. Ricky and Doughboy get the fuck out the hood. Luke hooks up with Leia just like he's intending. It's time for a reshelf and alternate endings.
Man.
Okay, how would we change the ending of this movie, or would we put it into a new genre? Reshelf it.
You got anything, Brad?
I see a lot of blank looks on everybody's face.
I really don't. I mean, I can always fill in for our friend if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I want to know the backstory behind that bus driver that hit Regina George.
Yeah.
Because I really
Did he go to jail?
I feel like that had to be intentional. So I feel like after that, he just keeps going after those mean girls and taking them out one by one.
Oh, I love that. If the story is that Regina like clowned him or like
yeah, because they were all
her
personally
and was
victimized by
super
Regina
mean,
George, right?
And then he
teachers, all the
literally
adults.
tried to murder her.
Why are you
And-
saying that it's a he? What if it's a she? And
He
was in
or
the burn
she.
book?
He
or
actually
she.
said he or she.
Yeah, either one.
Yeah.
They, I mean,
Yeah.
a
fair.
woman could be even more vindictive than a man of somebody talking shit to them as the bus driver. I love that. I like that a lot.
I just still, again, I'm going back to how did they not get fired the first time they almost ran over
Katie
at the very beginning? Like they're doing 50 through the middle of the high school on like the first day of school.
Well, I know who the bus driver was.
Oh shit.
Same one from Billy Madison.
Chris Farley.
Yep. Exactly. I knew you were going to say that.
Oh.
So the thing that I would do is I think that there's a love story in here that never quite hits, and that is between Tim Meadows and Tina Fey, right?
Absolutely.
They
yes.
kind of started off where it's like sort of uncomfortable. You can tell he's into her. She's just got divorced, so she's not super into him. He's not a piece of shit. Like out of all the people in the movie, like he's actually like pretty solid all the way through, tries to do the right thing.
He did not leave the South Side for that.
He's hitting on her, but not creepily.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's
well,
just
except for the part where she says something about her shirt being see-through and he looks
definitely
down.
gives a nice
He
point.
looks, but I mean,
she brought attention.
She talked about her boobs being wet and
Not her
noticeable.
fault. Not
What's
her
he supposed to do? Like make his eyes not look down? Yeah, exactly.
Blindfold.
I'm saying he's not a bad dude.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a potential storyline in there that probably may have been written and taken out or whatever it was, where she sort of realizes that like, oh, hey, maybe he's not so bad. And she's just gotten out of a divorce. And, you know, that's the time to swoop, right?
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that works. I think that works. Also, I thought that the storyline of the kid that gets with the friend that with the Lebanese woman,
Kevin G with Janice,
felt like a little like sort of shoehorned in there for me. I didn't
that was
I think
a little weird.
I think we take that love story out. We add Tim Meadows. I mean, they don't even have to like hook up or anything. Maybe they just like he
Dance at the prom.
finally they dance at the prom. Exactly.
They did.
But I mean, even just like something like that, and then he like asks her out, and she's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like that's all it has to be. And then it's like, because he seems so nice, you know what I mean?
I feel like at her table at the weird restaurant she works at like 3 days a week.
that's right.
Oh, well,
right.
I take it back. Maybe he's a little creepy.
But as we were talking about this, it kind of clicked in my head when I thought about her little vest and stuff. I was like, this is absolutely Jennifer Aniston's character.
Absolutely, yeah.
From
tchotchkes.
How many pieces of flair did she have?
Right.
Yeah.
Not 37.
That's got to be a little homage or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mesh them all together.
There you go.
But of course, I mean, if we're going to be talking about this, the plastics, they are, I mean, just like plastic, they are eternal because they're just a crew of vampires.
They have to be the vampires.
When she gets hit, she's definitely, I mean, that bus is flying. Like to say that she didn't die, she definitely looked like she died.
Some people said they saw her head spin around.
Oh,
She's
right.
definitely a vampire.
She just pops up, and first off, she kills the bus driver that she knows has a vendetta out against her, and then it
Maybe he's Van Helsing. Maybe that's who the bus driver is. He was trying to kill her. I don't know.
Just let her give the movie title.
I don't know about that, but I think at prom she comes back, and when she doesn't win, it's bloodbath in there, and it turns into Mean Girls till dawn.
There it is.
There you go.
It's just
Keith.
like the titty twister, but this time it's the high school gym or whatever, and now it's the girls trying to get out and survive from this zombie vampire apocalypse.
Awesome. Well, that is Mean Girls. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for letting me run the board. I feel like
why did I let you do this again?
My big boy pants are on.
Yeah.
Because next week we're doing something a little different. We are doing a draft, and Brad is going to be the judge.
Oh,
I've judged a lot of Mean Girls in my life.
Yeah. And so he's going to judge his own wife.
how are we?
Friend.
Are we thinking that if Brad had a powdered wig, he would be like a perfect, like old school judge, like with the mustache and the little and the goatee with like a powdered wig and a gavel? I think you're ready, dude. You're ready to tell people that you're gonna like take away their land or something.
Yeah, I can make some judgments for sure and be like, you know what? I'm sorry, we're taking your land. And
put them in the
giving it
town
to
square.
these people. You're going to be hanged at dawn.
Yes, exactly.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So next week, the draft is going to be the meanest girl draft.
Meanest girl in a movie.
Meanest girl in a movie. And we're going to argue about what that means. And so tune in next week. Tell all your friends about us. Go on the socials. Spread the word. Doesn't cost anything to tell somebody to listen to a podcast. You know?
The holiday season is approaching. It's the time for giving. Thanksgiving, if you give thanks to us, go ahead and tell your friends about us.
And if you get BVK tattooed on your forehead, we will let you be on the podcast live in the cantina.
You heard it here.
It's not visual media.
If you get
Actually, you know what? If you get a legit tattoo of BVK anywhere on your body, you're on the pod.
On the pod.
For sure. But if it's on your forehead, you're a new cast member. Like, you get to be on every episode.
You can just show up whenever and just barge in.
If you
and get in.
If you do a tramp stamp, I'll make a song.
Oh, dude.
That's a good one.
Scotch will write you a song. if you get the
BVK tramp stamp. I might get one just because it sounds awesome after you said that.
Yeah. Carrie, thank you so much. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Nate,
for having me.
we miss you, kind of. And thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.